There are only 3 quarterbacks in the history of the entire NFL to have ever taken 70 or more sacks in a single season. David Carr of the Houston Texans, as a rookie, has the dubious distinction of having the record for the most sacks taken in a single season with 76 back in 2002. Randall Cunningham, on the other hand, has the record for the second most sacks taken in a single season with 72. And now, for the third person on that list, Joseph Lee Burrow, in his first full starter in the NFL and only his second year in the NFL. This man took a whopping 70 sacks, 19, a postseason record, 19 in the playoffs, and then 51 during the regular season. 70 sacks? 70 sacks? The man is 25 years old and is out here taking 70 sacks in a single year. That is just not sustainable. Now, I'm not of the mindset that all the Bengals should have taken Penei Sewell over Ja'Marr Chase, because quite frankly, if they were to have taken Penei Sewell over Ja'Marr Chase, they wouldn't have been in the Super Bowl. In all honesty, yes, their offensive line could have been much, much better, but their offense wouldn't have been anywhere near as explosive and dynamic and as great as it was. That synergy, that chemistry between Joe Burrow and Ja'Marr Chase is really, it's a generational type of chemistry. And I'm not saying it's on the level of a Matthew Stafford and a Cooper Kupp, but that combination, their chemistry, and that duo, that quarterback wide receiver duo, was one of the best in the league. And honestly, it compensated. It won them a lot of games. The connection between those two, the chemistry that they had displayed since college. I mean, they're responsible for the single greatest collegiate season of all time. Heck, these guys are even neighbors. They live next to each other. And so I think they're kind of inseparable. And there's just no way that they would have made it to the Super Bowl without Ja'Marr Chase. Going back to the whole sacks debacle, Joe Burrow's 70 sacks taken this year was 22 more than the next player on that list. How isn't that bananas? And again, the whole sacks thing just messed up a whole bunch of things for the Bengals, especially when you rewind on the tape and go back and watch Super Bowl 56. After taking a 20-13 lead, and shout out Shannon Sharp for these stats, by the way, all credit to him. After taking a 20-13 lead, Joe Burrow and the Bengals were only able to muster 50 yards of offense. Not only that, their last 5 drives were punt, 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 turnover on downs. In the Super Bowl, Chris Collinsworth and Al Michaels pointed out that Joe Burrow was getting rid of the football a lot quicker than he had pretty much all season long. It looked like he was Tom Brady out there with the way that he was so quick in releasing the football, getting rid of the football, and only getting rid of the football within 1 or 2 seconds of the snap being in his hands. And so we saw a whole lot of checkdowns. We saw a whole lot of, passes to Joe Mixon, quick passes, and much understood. I mean, you were trying to neutralize a pass rush that finished 3rd in the NFL with 50 plus sacks, and that finished 1st in pass rush win rate. And so when you have an offensive line that's prone to giving up that many sacks, you just know that they're incompetent. And so not only do we see that in the statistics, we also see that in the way that the offense was unable to function down the stretch. We also see that in how it's been affecting Joe Burrow's health. Let's not forget, one of the biggest reasons why he suffered a torn ACL, a torn MCL in his rookie year was because his offensive line couldn't hold up. And I get it, quarterbacks and football players in general are going to take hits. That's just what's going to happen. It's the nature of football. Then they're going to have to play their part. Joe Burrow, he can't be absolved of all the blame. I mean, yes, he's also partially responsible just because he holds onto the football for a little longer than you might want, but for the most part, he is a generational talent. And as my man Dwayne of the GOAT Talk podcast, Will Marcus, has previously alluded to, Joseph Lee Burrow is the most surgical quarterback not named Tom Brady. Or I guess seeing as how Tom Brady's already retired, he now stands to benefit from his absence as the most surgical quarterback in the National Football League. Now, before we continue, real quick, if you guys haven't already, please show some love. Hit that subscribe button. Help us reach 4K. Don't forget to follow us on our socials, on Instagram, on Twitter. Same handle as the YouTube, Steezy A Smith, SteezyASmith. Now, let's look into how the Bengals can get back to the Super Bowl while simultaneously improving the offensive line.
Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah, here comes the.
According to Spotrac, the Bengals, on average, are the 3rd youngest team in the National Football League, only younger than the New York Jets and the Detroit Lions. And according to Spotrac, the average age on the roster is 25.65. Now for the Jets and the Lions, 25.53 and 25.47, respectively. So you have that going for you. Not only that, the Bengals, according to Spotrac, are top 5 in the NFL in terms of cap space, with over 50 plus million. Now, I know they have a few free agents that they had to re-sign. Jesse Bates, one of the better safeties in football, he's definitely going to command a deal north of 10 million. So some of that cap space is definitely going to dissipate. You have a lot to work with, a whole lot. Not only are they being constructed organically with a few free agent additions in Chidobe Awuzie, Trey Hendrickson, DJ Reader, their best players have been drafted. Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Ja'Marr Chase, Joe Mixon, even Tyler Boyd, who is a vet, he's been drafted. He's a homegrown player. Offensive lineman, Jonah Williams, he has a lot of promise coming out of Alabama. Let's keep in mind, this was only his second full season. He missed his entire rookie year because of an injury. And so he's still developing. And now I understand the owner, he's cheap. He doesn't like to spend money. But when you have a guy like Joe Burrow, when you have a generational talent like that, like Dan Orlovsky mentioned and pointed out, he could become the next Andrew Luck. And what I mean by that is a guy that is supremely talented at the quarterback position, a guy that is so good that he's able to compensate for a lot of deficiencies throughout the rest of the roster, a guy that's so good but gets hit so much. Do we not remember, or have we forgotten that Andrew Luck was once one of the best quarterbacks in football, yet he constantly had one of the worst O-lines in football year after year after year, and after all those hits and after all that pummeling, he eventually decided to call it quits out of nowhere. It literally caught everybody off guard. But when you really start to dissect and think about why he did what he did, his offensive line was terrible. And yes, the Colts front office, they tried time and time again to build an offensive line that was competent, to build an offensive line that could protect Andrew Luck. Where did that end up leading him? To retirement, a premature retirement. Now, if the Bengals, they could look at that as a precedent and look and think to themselves, we can't have a scenario like that unfold. We can't have our generational franchise quarterback who just took us to the Super Bowl for the first time in 30 plus years. We can't have him go down that path of either retiring early or leaving the team via free agency, forcing a trade, or doing whatever he can to force his hand to get out of the city. Now, I understand he's an Ohio boy. He's a hometown hero. He's a neighborhood hero. He's the people's champ over in Ohio, but pretty soon, after taking all these hits time and time again, 70 sacks and third most in NFL history, and you're only 25 years old and in your second year in the National Football League, that is not sustainable. So you have things to work with. When you have a quarterback on a rookie scale deal that has as much talent and potential as a Joe Burrow, that is the most valuable commodity in the National Football League. Now, not only do you not have to pay that man for another 2 to 3 years, Ja'Marr Chase, also on a rookie scale deal. Now, what's the next best commodity in the National Football League after a quarterback on a rookie scale deal? A generational type wide receiver on a rookie scale deal. These guys are being paid and compensated pennies on the dollar relative to their actual market value when you look at how good they are across the National Football League. That is the benefit of having these guys on rookie scale deals. Not only those two, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd is underrated and probably vastly underpaid. Joe Mixon is going to get paid soon, but he is a running back with an injury history. Jesse Bates as well. He is a free agent. He'll command north of 10 million, but that's not going to compromise all their cap space. And look, like I said, we also have to look towards internal improvement. Jonas Smith show lots of progress and improvement in his second year. And yes, they have the 31st pick in the first round in the draft set to take place in the next couple of months, and they might not be able to land a top tier tackle, but it's usually around that point in the draft where teams get lucky to land one of the better centers in the draft, to land one of the better guards in the draft. And I really feel like it's on the interior in which they struggle the most. They have a left tackle in Jonah Williams. He is a future at left tackle. Now, if they want to move him over to right tackle because of maybe a concern with his lack of arm length, or at least ideal arm length for a franchise left tackle, then they can do that. There's a plethora of free agents on the market. Here are just a few of them, and we'll start with offensive linemen. Terron Armstead, left tackle for the New Orleans Saints. He's been one of the best left tackles in football ever since he started playing for the New Orleans Saints, and now it's going to take a whole lot of money. I'm not expecting Trent Williams type money, but I'm definitely expecting a salary at least in the neighborhood of 20 to 21 million annually. So they're definitely gonna have to open up their checkbooks and pay him a lot of money, but he'll definitely be worth the investment. I don't think it's as likely because I see him returning to the team that just traded a whole bunch of picks for him, but Orlando Brown Jr. could be another target. Guard Andrew Norwell of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like I said, the interior could use some polishing. Ryan Jensen, another center for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brian Allen for the Rams, whom just defeated the Cincinnati Bengals. There's Jason Kelce of the Philadelphia Eagles, arguably the best guard in football, and Brandon Scherf of the Washington Commanders. And if they've already franchise tagged him 2 years in a row, they're either going to bring him back now or let him go. one of the more underrated centers in the National Football League, Ben Jones of the Tennessee Titans. There's also tackle Trent Brown of the New England Patriots. So there's a whole bunch of offensive linemen that the Bengals could target in free agency. Now, I haven't done all my homework on the NFL draft. I know, shame on me. But like I said, they could land one of the top tier guards. They could land one of the top tier centers, one of the top tier offensive linemen, interior offensive linemen with where they're drafting in the NFL. And it's not like they've been trading a whole bunch of their picks and they're not lacking in draft capital like the LA Rams are. So they have a lot of ammunition to work with. They have a lot of cap space to work with. And not only can they get back to the Super Bowl by improving their offensive line, they could bring in other playmakers. Tight end CJ Uzomah, he's a free agent. Now I'm all for the Bengals re-signing and bringing back CJ Uzomah just because he showed lots of potential and he displayed more chemistry with Joe Burrow down the stretch. And so I'd like to see him come back. But if they don't end up going that route, if the Bengals want to try fielding more two tight end sets, they could pair him alongside, let's say, if he doesn't retire, a Gronk, because the only quarterback he did say that he was willing to play with, not named Tom Brady, was Joseph Lee Burrow. And so there's Gronk, there's Zach Ertz. I forgot to mention another tackle on the market, Eric Fisher. There's plenty of offensive linemen that the Bengals could work with. And I'm not saying that you give them a competent offensive line, they feel the best roster in football. Yeah, because they are in the AFC. They had to go up against the likes of the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, the Chargers, the Raiders, the Patriots, and so on. There's so much competition in the AFC. The quarterbacks, Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Derek Carr. If he comes back, Deshaun Watson. Not to mention their own division. The Cleveland Browns should bounce back. The Pittsburgh Steelers, if they get a quarterback, they'll be so much better. The Baltimore Ravens, if they could just stay healthy. So the Bengals, they have a lot to work with, but they also have a lot working against them. But like I did mention at the top of the episode, look, they've been building organically for the most part. They have cap space, they have draft capital, they have young playmakers on rookie scale deals. Now is the time. You don't have generational prospects in Joseph Lee Burrow that come around often. And so, seeing as how he is a hometown hero, a city boy, an Ohio boy, he's gonna be willing to stick around and be patient, but they can't take that for granted, and they definitely gotta be able to take advantage of the window that they have. Look, their owner, Mike Brown, if you're listening, open up that checkbook. I know you're cheap. You have Joseph Lee Burrow, you have Ja'Marr Chase, you have all these guys on rookie scale deals. Capitalize on that opportunity, capitalize on that window, because if you're going to be winning Super Bowls, at least win one or two while these guys are on the rookie scale deals, because once you pay them, it's going to be that much tougher to be able to get back to the Super Bowl. Now, that's it for today's episode, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know that wasn't the Seahawks episode, but please drop your comments. Down below if you have any video ideas, video suggestions, any topics that you'd like for us to touch on. Definitely please let your voice be heard and do that. And for those of you guys that tuned into our first ever live show, it was on the Super Bowl. It was a pregame Super Bowl show. Thank you so much. I know that was kind of out of the blue. There wasn't any promo, and I kind of just came out of nowhere with that. But we'll be doing a weekly live stream from here on, maybe in the next week or so. If you guys want to be featured on an episode, be sure to shoot us a DM. Follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, at Steezy A Smith. Let your voice be heard again. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed. Till next time, all glory to God. Amen. And Steezy out. Again, this video is going to be dedicated to Mr. Todd Nas. While that concludes this video, we have loads of other content. You don't have to stop watching there. Other content on our channel homepage, as well as our social media platforms. And again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for us. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Nothing but love, and Steezy out.